second time was about 2 years ago when we were moving out to California from New York. Again, I got hit with depression and anxiety, and this was pretty scary because I had no idea where this was coming from, because I associated my experience the first time around with having a baby, which is so normal. It happens to so many women. Very natural, but it's very common, and it's not something taboo, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. But the second time around, it was like, okay, why is this happening? I'm happy. I'm going back home. I'm healthy. What is going on? I had been working out and been watching what I ate, and I excluded all carbohydrates. I was eating a high protein diet, hardly having any fruit, and for breakfast I would have like scrambled eggs with nuts and vegetables. For lunch I would have like I don't know, a green salad with chicken, and then for dinner I would have like salmon with a roasted vegetable, and that's what I had. It was pretty healthy considering the other diets that are out there. You would think, wow, this is pretty healthy. And that was my diet, and I was exercising. By all means, my diet was really well, and I was like, why did I get hit with this? My husband was not in town and was not in the city. I was by myself with my babies. I frantically called him. He was actually out in LA, and I was like, you need to come. You need to go. I'm not well. And so we did arrangements for my sisters to come fly out to New York. And yeah, it was very, very, very dark time again, second time around. And this time around, I didn't have the support that I did the first time around. I was pretty much by myself till my sisters came over. And I remember one time I went to church, Trinity Baptist Church in Manhattan on 63rd and 2nd. Um, and we had committed to help in the children's, to minister in the children's department. And at this time, my husband got hit with kidney stones, and he said, "You know what? You need to go." We committed, and I was like, I can't even stand up straight. How am I going to go to church and teach these little kids? So I got in the cab, and I went to church, and I talked to one of the leaders there, and I explained to her what was going on, and she was like, she understood, and I went through it, and I was able to give the lesson, and I went up to church afterwards to the second service. And I remember they had a choir. It was a choir that was visiting from Dallas, from Texas, Houston or Dallas, and they were loud. They were so loud. They were so good. But I used that as an advantage. I used as an example, as an advantage to yell and scream all of my frustrations, because so I had so much pent up anxiety, and I knew that at any moment I was like on the break of a break. And I knew that if I didn't release it there, then I was going to release it on the streets, and they would probably take me in a white coat. So I remember just going and raising up my hands and just yelling at God and saying, "How dare you do this to me again? How dare you do this to me again? Where are you? Help me!" And I was yelling from the top of my lungs. Obviously, no one could hear me because the choir was going on. And so at the end of the service, there was two couples that were up in the front, and I had to go. I was so desperate. I just went up and need prayer. So I went and I asked for prayer, and I explained to them what had happened. And the lady, the wife, she said, "You know what?" After she prayed for me, she whispered in my ear. She goes, "You know what? The same power that rose Jesus Christ from that tomb," she goes, "that's the same power that you have when you feel like you want to jump out of your skin." And when she said that, I was like, she knows what's going on. She pinpointed and described the feeling that you get when you're in this anxiety. You want to jump out of your skin. It's a torturous feeling because nothing's wrong with your body. You're not in any pain. You're not in any cuts, jabs, but your mind takes over and just kidnaps you. This thing just kidnaps you where you want to jump out of your skin. And so I went back to the apartment, and I had that, and I was like, you know what? When I'm going through this particular feeling, that's what I'm going to say, the same power that rose Jesus from the tomb is the same power that I have. And so forward to that, I got well. I found a really good doctor that helped me, and she found she put me on the right medication. And after going through different kinds of doctors, psychiatrists, and therapists, they were all giving me just really, really, really negative help and prescribing wrong medications for me that were giving me even more of a setback. And I found this doctor in Soho, and she helped me, and we moved out here. And so I remember one time my sister telling me, my older sister, she came and she was in the apartment and we were sitting down, and I was having, in the evening, my anxiety would subside. And so when I was level headed, we would talk, and it was just wonderful. And she told me, she goes, Gabby, she goes, you can't be living like this. You can't be relying on medication. You have to make a change in your life, in your lifestyle, because you can't be relying on medication.